Good evening, everyone. Welcome on a Thursday night, the 6th of November, to another episode of So What's Been Happening. This one, episode 192. We are rapidly moving towards show 200. What's in store for show 200? Well, I threw that out there a little while ago, so who knows at this stage. We actually saved show 100 and never actually recorded it because we were going to do something special. I assure you, we are definitely going to do something special for show 200. We just got to put a few pieces together and see what it comes up with. So keep that one in mind. Speaking of keeping a few things in mind, I've got a couple of gigs I just want to run you through before we kick off tonight's chat. All right, what do we got? The 7th, tomorrow night in Melbourne. Skyscraper stand in the Commission Flats at the Bergie Band Room. Try and get along to that one. We've also got Queen and Hank. This one at the Quadraphonic Club in Melbourne with Alex Hamilton in support. That will no doubt sell out very quickly. Changing tact a little. This one is forget Tool. Don't go and see Tool at Good Things. It's going to be too mad. Go and see this band instead, Third Eye, who do an incredible cover band of Tool. So that one at Max Watts, it's everything Tool should be, or is actually. So those guys are unbelievable. And flipping it a little, I'll let you have the Saturday off and the Sunday. You can get along to this one. The Cosmic Psychos, I really like beer tour. That's changing that one up a bit. So get along to that one at the Corner Hotel. And also the Versace Boys, who we spoke to a little while ago. They are down in Melbourne for one of the first times for a while. It's a free one too at Hotel Brunswick. So if you haven't seen Versace Boys, you're in for an absolute treat. So try and get along to that one. And then just flicking up to Sydney for a couple, there's a reunion gig for Asteroid B612. They haven't played for 20 odd years, I'm led to believe. So this one's Friday the 7th at the Marrickville Bolo, and the week after they're down in Melbourne at the Curtin. So try and get along to that one. The 8th, the On and Ons, a new album preview show at the Marrickville Bolo for Saturday night. And also the Meanies, after just doing their gig at the Tote on the weekend, they're off to Sydney, the Peterson Bolo, which is doing great things for the Shutdown single launch. So plenty of gigs out there for all those not going to Metallica and didn't go to Oasis. I made an interesting decision. Well, I think it's interesting anyway. Time will tell. But to save a few bucks, not to buy a ticket to Oasis and not to buy a ticket to Metallica, even though they were pretty hard to come by anyway. But I kind of put $1,000 worth in the bank to get out and see some more local acts. And I see a lot of music over the year, but I thought $1,000 is so much better spent in local artists' pockets. So I'm going to buy tickets to gigs. The ones I can't get to, I'm going to give away, but I'm also going to buy some more tickets just to support some local artists, because I think it's really important that you show them everything you can out there at the moment to support them, support venues, and most importantly, put money pre-booked to tickets, because it shows the venues the support's there, because it's not easy at the moment to continue to put gigs on. That is always a worry of whether who's going to turn up, and Melbourne's one of those places that people just roll up and roll in depending on the weather. So there's plenty on, but look out for some tickets we're going to give away in the next couple of weeks. But tonight, this one's an exciting one. A Man Called Sun. So that whole name is actually the artist's name, Simon Pearlman. So this is it's going to be a really interesting chat to have a chat about his journey and where he's been and where he's going. And he's had some plenty of great music along the way. So let's bring him up for a chat. Mr. Simon Pearlman, a.k.a. A Man Called Sun.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, mate. On a Thursday night, what else would you be doing kicking back on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock?
Well, that's a good question. I've been trying to nail a vocal take for the next single, and I always go down this rabbit warren of doing take after take and scrapping the previous take and then scrapping the take before that, and then thinking that one take sounds pretty good, and then a few weeks later scrapping that take. So it's a bit of a process. I suppose I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but
Sure.
that's usually what I've been doing for the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, that choose a bit of time. When you're a perfectionist, it's never right. So there's plenty of time to fill in.
Indeed. Yeah.
Look, a really exciting time for you this year, putting out an instrumental, which is something a little, well, not totally new to you, but great to put together something. I think in today's world right now, when we can do a lot with a bit of mental space, chill out, and good to have that background music. And mate, what I've listened to on this album, I really love. So let's kick off there, because I think we have a mental health chat kind of normally at the start of the month, and this is a really good one to kind of kick off, and just to have that mental reset. So let's talk a little bit about that album first. How did it come about, and why now for you?
Well, it's appropriate that I was talking about tracking vocals, because I think it's to give myself a rest from singing for a bit. But essentially, the project started because I'd begun the next album in it was April 2023, and it was going along well, but there was a bit of upheaval. Had to move house and a few other big events. But what essentially happened over the course of 5 to 10 years is I accumulated a lot of studio, I guess, experiments or sonic detours, as it were. And about half the tracks had vocals or vocal ideas, and the other half didn't have any vocals or lyrics, which was a little bit unusual for me. I just pulled it all together and decided to ditch the ones that had lyrics, as in remove the vocals from the half that had vocals on them, and essentially give it a bit of spit and polish, add a few other sonic layers, a few other instruments, and give it a quick mix, and just release as quick as I could. I think it was to try and challenge myself, because in the past I just spent so long working on tracks that I kind of gave myself a limited amount of time with this, just to get it out there and see how it lands.
Yeah, perfect. All right, let's hear a little bit from a couple of tracks, but the first one, Misspent Youth. Let's hear this one. We'll play a little snapshot for you. There you go. There's a little bit to keep you excited and leave you wanting more. Obviously, instrumental tracks are always interesting to me, because I always think of, how did you come up with a song title that resonates with that background? Give me the feel for how it works for you.
Yeah, it's a good question. For me, this is a bit of a, I suppose, something I don't normally volunteer, but what I do sometimes is if I have an idea for a song, as in a title for a song, I'll stick it on my phone in like a notepad on there, and usually I've got a few lined up, and there's basically nowhere else to put them if there's no lyrics to go with it. So with that particular track, there's a bit of wordplay, obviously, but for me, it's a very summary sounding piece, and for me, it conjures up, I suppose, something youthful or something nostalgic. And I just thought, hey, misspent youth. There you go. Wasn't much to it beyond that.
Yeah. Sometimes we overthink things, don't we? We're very good at overthinking.
I'm really guilty of that. Yeah.
I think this album came at a perfect time for everyone that needs just a little chill out and a bit of background tunes and just enjoys that. To me, it's a great driving album, mate. You don't have to be there to sing along. You just need to there to sit and reset and not answer the phone for an hour's drive and just listen to some tunes. And yeah, I don't think there's enough of it.
Cheers.
I think people undervalue or underestimate the power of instrumental. What's your thoughts now that you've punched one out?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think for me, the last few years, I've been listening to a lot of, I guess, ambient music, jazz, predominantly music that's not too lyric heavy. And I mean, I love lyrics. I love the written words. But for me, quite often when I want to relax, put the headphones on, listen to some ambient sort of music that there's no words, or if there is singing, it's kind of wordless. So I think for me, yeah, that the whole concept behind it was to create something that sets a tone and doesn't really demand too much of the listener. It's not imposing upon the listener what my thoughts are about A, B, and C. And I think, it's something that perhaps is a little bit lacking sometimes in the music scene.
Yeah. Described here as a shoegazy instrumental. That's always a good term, isn't it?
Yeah, guilty of having some shoegaze influences, definitely. So that's pretty bang on. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to play one more of them on this album. This one pulled from the wreckage. What can you tell us about the feel and flavor of this one before we play it?
Yeah, this is a bit of a strange one. I basically had a lyric and a vocal that it was sort of about a crime scene. I think I was trying to depict that, and I think it was called Snapshot originally, the song, for some reason. But I had the written piece and I had a very rough vocal, but it just wasn't sitting right. So I took the vocal out and I added some radio voices, which you can hear on the track, that kind of staticky sound. I'm not even sure what language that is. I think it's Russian or something, but that's another one of my tricks, is plugging in a radio into the sound card
Nice.
to get some different atmospherics. But yeah, I just wanted to create just a bit of dread, I suppose, with this one. So it's perhaps not the most relaxing piece, but hey, some people might find it relaxing.
There you go. And the title obviously drags up all that, but it's got a good omen in respect of you'd like to be pulled from the wreckage if you actually were in one. So, all right, we're going to let you close your eyes and enjoy this one, and boom, open them for a second, because we're actually going to show you the cover of the album as well, Instrumental Health, during this one. Dreamy static. We used to try and avoid that back in the day on the radio and try and do everything we can. And then FM transmitters and things came when we tried to connect auto devices back to our FM radios, and we're trying to get rid of that static. But I'm glad it's back. especially in this one. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's funny how the pendulum sort of swings. I think now we're very used to clean sounds and having things quite sonically crystalline, and
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with that. But my tendency is to kind of muddy the waters a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, just to add a little bit of distortion here and there, or a bit of discord in the track.
Do you think we're going a bit too clean with the way electric kind of records these days? I know, listen to Ice Cream Hand's new album they've just released and about to release, and the couple of tracks off that, they talked about the way they recorded it and going back to the old tape, just to get that kind of warm, fuzzy kind of feel. And with a few things layered back over the top. What's your kind of recording process? How did you go about the ones for this album?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the process of recording. It's for me, it's a never-ending, I suppose, discovery. I'm always finding new ways of recording, and I'm always, I guess, nerding up on the articles where they interview recording engineers, or they interview artists in the making of some classic album. So I tend to avoid going into studios myself, not because I don't enjoy it, but just tends to be a bit costly for me. So I sort of thrive in my own environment, as it were. So for me, obviously I've got a few decent bits of equipment. So some good mics, good preamps, and just some pieces of vintage gear, a few old synths, and couple of unusual instruments like auto harp, and just things that give it a bit more of an organic flavor. I think organic's a good word for it. And I'm not really a technical whiz when it comes to a lot of sequencing and MIDI. A lot of it's a bit trial and error. But for me, it's a case of recording things quickly, and then adding layers gradually, building it up slowly. So I think the idea is catch that spark of inspiration early. So get the beat down, or the rhythm down, add your basic tracks fairly efficiently, and then after some time come back to it. It's a bit like painting. You just add little sonic touches here and there, and remove pieces. So yeah, it's always I don't know, it's never a process that you're ever going to master, but I think it's something that is always, for me, intriguing, because each time you're like, how can I do this a little bit differently? I think that's the key, is trying to make it different. And yeah, I think the example of Ice Cream Hands using the tape is a good one, because having that sort of equipment at your disposal can add a bit of analog goodness to it. So yeah, all for that as well.
And in amongst these 12 tracks, there's a fair bit of variety in this album. Was each track have the same process you kind of followed, the way you started to layer it, or the start of the process, or did they all kind of evolve in different ways to come together?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because these tracks were kind of cherry picked over a period of time. They all had slightly different recording processes applied to them. So I can recall one track, the opener, Sold Coast, that I sort of rescued from an old PC.
Cool.
And yeah, I had the drum loop and the synths and things like that, but it was already bounced down onto a stereo track, so I couldn't separate any of the elements. And it was also, for some reason, a little bit overdriven. So I added some bits on top of that, but that's why that particular song has a bit more of a distorted sound, not a harsh sound, but just a little bit driven. So, and then there might be another track where I've just DI'd things, keyboards directly, and then added some loops. So yeah, it really varied across the recording spectrum, so to speak.
Yeah. And before we move on to the couple of extra clips, talk to me about your kind of initial journey. Where did music kind of first grip you? What's your first earliest memory of music, and what was it, and where was it playing something on something? What tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, well, I have to give my parents full credit for this. So, yeah, I could distinctly remember, I think when I was either 2 or 3, we had a turntable, and my folks playing the Beatles, Neil Young, Simon and Garfunkel, Kate Bush, actually. That was another one that was, I remember it was a Kate Bush compilation that we had. And I'm still a massive, massive fan of hers. But yeah, I as far back as I can remember, my folks played records, and used to just look at the album covers, just completely fascinated by the artist and their kind of, I guess, visual narrative, what was going on there, whether it's the fashion of the time or the kind of image that they were presenting. So yeah, definitely that early memory sticks in my brain.
And musically, what was the first instrument you kind of picked up, and is that still the one that does it for you today?
Yeah, the first, I mean, I picked up a guitar when I was probably 5 or 6, but I had no idea what I was doing. And the turning point for me was, I don't know, your primary school, Aaron, if you had to learn recorder, but we had to learn recorder, and you get 60 kids playing this instrument
Horrendous
all out of
notes.
shit. Yeah, it just, I couldn't bring myself to do it after a while, so I just grabbed a percussion instrument. It was like one of those, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it's guiro, it's like the wooden fish that you kind of I'll probably said it wrong, but anyway, you basically strike it and run the stick across it, and I just started tapping out a rhythm, and then I realized that the music teacher was giving me the thumbs up. So as soon as the music teacher gave me the thumbs up, I was like, okay, I don't need to play this silly recorder anymore. I can just focus on this for a while. So it wasn't long before I started getting into my mum's pots and pans, and stretching plastic bags over them and trying to make them sound like drums. And obviously, to my folks, a great relief. They thought they'd get me an actual drum kit to save the crockery and the cutlery, which is probably a good thing. And from about age 12 onwards, it was drums all the way. To this day, it's probably the only instrument that I can confidently say I can play relatively well. Every other instrument, I would say I'm a bit of a hack.
That's the perfectionist in you, no doubt, Simon, coming out there. A lot of people say anyone can play drums, but I think it's a real challenge. But mate, this pick, I love this pick, mate. What a beautiful guitar. Talk to me about that.
Thank you. So that Rickenbacker. I got that for my 21st, actually, and I've had it for a while, folks. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about the Rickenbacker 360. I think ideally the 12 string is kind of what's associated with the 360 model, but I think there's Johnny Marr played one, and then Peter Buck played one, and they're two of my favorite guitarists. So yeah, big influence on my sound, and I always wanted to get that sort of jangly sound in a lot of my music. Yeah.
Yep. And who were your biggest influences for the instrumental part for this particular album? Was there anyone in particular, or it's kind of evolved over time from different influences?
Yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't really given that one too much thought, other than to say Brian Eno is probably a strong influence on this one. I know it's kind of an obvious choice for instrumental music, given he's sort of the king of ambient music, but
sure,
just the more the kind of cerebral approach that he takes to his composition and his I don't know, I guess the production as well. Not just his not just his own work, but just his production on other people's work. And I think that was definitely in the forefront. But then also, someone mentioned the shoegaze influence. That's probably there in the background, especially a lot of those early 90s kind of British wall of noise groups. Definitely there's a 80s Manchester thing going on. There's a slight New Order thing people have said, so I wouldn't dispute that.
I take that. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a few things, but I think fundamentally with the instrumental side, I kind of take my cue from those other genres I alluded to earlier, that jazz and classical and ambient, where it's not as if it influenced directly, but it's more of a psychological thing. There's a sense of space in those pieces that I listen to.
Yeah. And how important was it for you to put out this instrumental track at the moment in this journey and right now in this part of your life? Where mental health is a struggle for a lot of people. Mental release is probably something we don't talk about enough. Definitely, as two guys sitting in the room now, we like to try and normalize this conversation as much as we can, especially with musicians, because we've had some musicians on that we've touched on anxiety and all sorts of elements of dealing with that. So kind of why was it this album for you right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, the actual composition or production of the album, I suppose, because as mentioned, quite a few pieces were already composed and I was just embellishing them. But the process of putting it all together, it came about at a pretty high time of anxiety for myself. I was getting evicted from my my residence because the owner was selling.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yep, that'll do it.
And it's not straightforward when you got so much equipment and things as I have. And I'm not trying to make this a sob story, but it's just when there's crisis, I always obviously turn to music, whether it's listening or composing. And I think music has always provided a form of solace for myself, always will, even if I wasn't composing. And I think that's the case for so many millions of people around the world. So I think releasing it in that background, in that sort of context, was important, because it's also giving myself permission to, I guess, take a break from, let's try and nail that 90th vocal take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or let's try and get that drum beat exactly right. Just go, look, forget it. Like here it is. It's going to be a bit rough. And also, I'm not the greatest mixing engineer in the world. I don't usually mix a lot of my own work beyond sort of B-sides or the odd tracks. So I think just sort of doing it myself this time without over-analyzing it, it's kind of good for your mental health too, because sometimes you kind of wrap yourself, around in knots. And I think that just applies to so many things in life. Yeah, what you mentioned before about overthinking, it's I'm definitely guilty of it, and I know many other people are as well. So just giving yourself permission to just let it out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move to the new album coming out soon. AutoTraumatic. Interesting title for starters. Very interesting title. Talk to us about that first, and where does that fit in amongst where this album's going to sit?
Well, that ties in with your question before about mental health, because I see it as a bit of a continuum from instrumental health in a way. Even though I started this one much earlier, but AutoTraumatic, it was conceived in the wake of a traumatic personal event for myself, which lasted longer than it should have, about a year. And it's okay, folks, I'm all good now. I'm all fine. But it's that thing again where I thought, well, you know, I'm not going to be the first confessional singer-songwriter in the world, but also I don't want to be that guy who is, just basically making it like a diary entry and boring everyone to tears. So I wanted the music to be sonically a little bit light, not too intense, moments of intensity, but lyrically it definitely touches on some pretty heavy themes if you kind of look a bit closer. But basically, I would suggest that it's a concept album, kind of like a reverse bell curve, those graphs. So you get a bit of a decline, then you get more of a decline, and then you get back up again. So it's there's a bit of redemption at towards the end, and it's kind of weird because at the moment the two singles that have been released, they're kind of at opposite ends of where the album will sit, but it gives people a taste of it. So
yeah, big taste. All right, we're going to kick this one off with Meds and play a minute or so of this clip. Great clip too, by the way. Make sure you jump on YouTube if you're listening to this as the audio version. You must check this one out. All right, here it is, Meds.
It's you I need. This is for chronic pain, and to forget your name. This is for pleasant dreams. Relax and float downstream. When love takes its toll, your dose. What do you need the most? When life takes its toll, mates can feel the pain. There's no getting around.
All right, I'm going to leave that one there. Leave you hanging a bit to make sure you come back and check out the rest of that, mate. Great clip. Talked about putting it together. Is that your magic as well, or have you had some great assistance there?
I wish I could claim credit for that one, Aaron, but that is the work of Christian Bazzari of the Melbourne band Texas Milk Bar. So shout out to Christian. He is, awesome. He's a very talented animator, but a really, really talented singer-songwriter as well. So he's a man of many hats. But he did a really good job with this, and I was really happy with the result.
Yeah, come out great. And shout out to our good friend Johnny Baxter from Little Faiths, who just got out of hospital after slipping a disc and being in insane pain. And in this case, the meds helped him out quite somewhat. But There's many good that can come out of meds. There's some bad that can come out of meds too, on the same track. So, this song for you, important one on the album. This is probably at the high and then the low, and then hopefully on the climb again. So, yeah, just touch on meds for us.
Yeah. So this one, I think it's one of those weird songs where if I sort of say definitively what it's about, because it's going to be perhaps people won't interpret it any other way, but I suppose the most clear way I can explain it is that meds is just one symbol of one, I suppose, aspect of something that we have dependencies in life on so many things. And the whether it's your phone might be regarded as medication. I think we're all doom scrolling, right? So
biggest virus of all to some.
Yep. So that's a form of self-medication. So I think there's something in that. It's basically saying, look, we can use these as band-aids, but at the end of the day, only you can fix you. The real work has to come from within. It's like you hear stories about, alcoholics and other people that might go to an AA or similar, and but it doesn't matter how much external work is going on. That person might do the complete opposite once that session's over. So, it really has to come from within. And I think humans are, by their nature, and we can't help it, we're quite duplicitous. Even with ourselves, we can convince ourselves that we're doing the right thing or that we're on the right track, but we're running in the opposite direction. So that's kind of what that song's about, more or less.
We can definitely convince ourselves we're doing all the wrong things too. We can overthink where things are at, but it shows like this is why we kind of started this podcast originally, was just to jump on and have a chat during the shit time that was COVID, have a chat to some friends. We realized the music industry was smashed. We got some muso mates on, and it hasn't all been music along the way here, but it's, 192 shows later, 4 years into it, and we're still talking music and the magic that can come from music. So from, all the punters out there, just general punters that aren't musicians that get along to gigs because they love music. Simon, thanks for doing what you do, mate. I know it largely comes unrewarded financially. You put your heart and soul, and it's a real outlet. But it's also something so important to musicians to have a talent that they can put out into the world and let go of their little baby, and hopefully that it flies off and does the right thing and drifts and gets some, great airplay over time. And if that related to some money, wouldn't that be great? But thanks for doing what you do. Persisting, mate, 5 albums in, you must be doing something right.
Oh, thanks, Aaron. I really appreciate that. I think I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I think you have to start from a place of expression first and wanting to express yourself. And if you start from a good place, then you can't go wrong. But if you start from a place of, you're doing it for the fame or success or financial reward, then you might be barking up the wrong tree, especially in 2025.
Yeah. And that's not wholly and solely on musicians either. I've interviewed plenty of artists, visual artists on this show and animators and all those kind of people that can talk the same story. It's great to have an outlet and a talent. And no matter what it is, sometimes you just got to believe it's the right outlet for you. So we'd love it to be a full-time paying gig, but it never is these days, or it isn't to too many, that's for sure.
Definitely, Aaron. Yeah.
All right, we're going to play the last song. We're going to chat to No Time Like the Present. That sounds like a good time to play this.
Seagulls crying in the wind, glistening silver shark fin. Or did I imagine it? The ocean is enticing, the birds are all gliding, the jellyfish are hiding. Hope I don't get stung. Storm on the horizon, this is AutoTraumatic, but the water's clear. It's been the longest year. Think I almost disappeared for good. Memories wax and wane. A trip to the past is in vain. There's no time like the present. Goodbye yesterday. Flying too close to the sun. Tomorrow's promised for no one. And there's no time like the present. And the day's begun. Memories wax and wane. The trip to the past is in vain. And there's no time like the present. Goodbye yesterday. Flying too close to the sun. Tomorrow's promised for no one. There's no time like the present, and the day's begun.
As much as it kills me to kill off a good guitar solo, I had to. So I'm going to leave you hanging on that one too. Jump on YouTube and we'll post a clip of the full song for that one. No time like the present. Do you think we live in the past too much? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite easy to do because we have a tendency to romanticize the past or self-edit. But also, there's a lot of good stuff in the past. There's a lot of bad stuff, but we tend to focus on the good stuff. So much good music in the past too, which helps. I struggle to, don't get me wrong, I listen to current music like everyone else, but I have a lot of trouble as I get older getting past a certain decade. I have trouble getting past 2000. I kind of get stuck on that. You know, there's so much good stuff in that 50 year from 1950 to 2000. So I could just spend years listening to albums from that period. But I think when it comes to the personal aspect of the past, because it's always informing the present as much as we try to deny it. Being present is a challenge. And again, in the modern world with all the myriad of distractions and technology, it's compounded even more. So I think that definitely influenced the theme of the song. It's really just doing your best to seize the day, and it can be a challenge with all the adult responsibilities, the adulting.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah.
I just had my oldest daughter turn 31, and I still don't feel responsible enough for a 30-year-old, let alone I don't feel responsible enough for any children, to be perfectly honest, and I've got 3 beautiful ones that are all well above 20 now. So it's one of those things. It's you can sit back and reflect, and I think we need to do that more. So firstly, an instrumental album will absolutely help me do that, and I'll think of you when I listen to obviously that album from now on. But this new one coming up, mate, when's the release kind of brewing? When's it going to get out there?
Yeah, so it's definitely, it will be out next year. But even saying that, I've flagged it as April. I know that I've given myself, it's self-imposed deadline, but I know that I started the project in April 2023, so it'll be coming up to the 2-year mark. So hence why I've imposed that deadline on myself. Yep. There will be a single. I can drop the title here. I've never dropped it anywhere else yet. It's going to be called All of My Will. That will be out hopefully February. It's close to completion. But yeah, the album itself, everything's done except the vocals, and it's just the vocals that's always the hardest part, because it's not just my own singing. Sometimes I like to bring in other vocalists too, which it's subtle, but it's there. I did that on the last vocal album, Timebombs in the Sea, as well. So
what is it in particular on your vocals? You call yourself a master of none, right? Largely. And why are you so harsh on your own vocals when what I heard in amongst that song was uniquely different? I think there's a feel for your voice that's a little different, which is great. And now I think that's what uniquely makes it you. So why are you so harsh on yourself?
Well, you're too kind, Aaron. I think it's funny, because when I first started singing or attempting to sing when I was 17 or 18, my voice was really high. It was like really way up there, very, very boyish. And I absolutely hated it. I hated my voice. And then it wasn't until I think I was in my mid-20s that, the voice sort of deepened a bit. And it was a very delayed adolescence. But I think there was a turning point around sort of between 25 and 30 where I became more comfortable with my singing voice. I think for me, it's not a huge problem if I go on stage. I know there's going to be flaws. That's part of the charm. It's always a bit rough around the edges with performing. There's always going to be a little bit of character there. But when you're in the studio, for me, it's not so much the note is off or that it sounds bad, but I'm after a certain tone, a certain tonal quality of the vocal that I sometimes can't quite get, but I'm trying to get. It's like I'm never going to sound like Tom Waits, nor would it really suit what I'm doing anyway. But maybe I might like to approximate something gravelly for a particular song. So it's like, well, how am I going to get that? I don't really have a gravelly voice. What if I just sang for 3 hours straight and see if that did? So it's kind of a bit of an experimental thing where some songs I'm like trying to capture a performance. It's a bit like acting. I'm trying to capture a certain quality that's a bit unusual, and I'm trying to get away from not sounding the same every song. So it's a challenge, but master of none. I like that. It should be a man called Master of None. We can change it to that.
There you go. And obviously the question that would have been on everyone's lips the second they came across your name, which we should have asked earlier, but purposely left it till late. A man called Sun. Talk to me about where that came from. It's gripped me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the answer isn't going to be that gripping. So this might take away from some of the magic, but there is a little known band called The Verve. Bittersweet Symphony, right? I'm sure.
Probably the biggest band in the world at one stage, or should have been,
and then lost it pretty quickly.
Definitely.
But I was a fan of theirs back in the day. Some of the songs hold up really well, but there was a really early B-side they had. I think it was actually the first EP they put out. There was a track on there that was titled "A Man Called Sun," but it was spelt S-U-N. And the lyric was, "Walking with a man called Sun, I feel my journey has just begun." And something about a man called Sun just lodged in my head. So I basically nicked it, but replaced it with S-O-N. And I thought, well, it's kind of cool because there's blues artists called Sunny, for example, or Sun, you get like Sun House, Sonny Boy Williams. Not that my music's bluesy, but I think there's that acknowledgement that you can have men that are called Sun, but yet they're the son of someone. I'm sort of making it sound a bit pseudo profound here, but I'm just talking bollocks. But I think there's a bit of a dual meaning to the name. The worst thing though is that when people go, "Look, are you some kind of Christian rock band?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, because a man called Son, like Jesus is the Son of Man." I'm like, so sometimes you get religious nutters. Nothing wrong with Christianity. I'm just saying you get religious nutters approaching me going, "Hey, is there some kind of Christian theme?" There's no Christian theme, folks. There's definitely no Christian theme.
Well, it's great to have a chat to you, Mr. Simon Pearlman, aka A Man Called Sun. Long may it continue. I can't wait to hear the new album. What have you got coming up as far as gigs? Is there anything planned? I know you had your single kind of launch that was last month at the retreat. How did that go, first and foremost, and what's coming up?
Well, we actually we had that launch. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's been a year. That was actually 2024.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah,
but really?
It might as well have been yesterday because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it goes so quickly.
I know, it's just flown. I can't believe it'll be November. I had a what do you call it? A live stream planned for next Friday. So I'll drop it here. It's a similar to this, as in intimate setting, stripped back live broadcast, just me and an acoustic, and might play a new song as well. But yeah, definitely a lot of the older stuff. That'll be next Friday, and there'll be a link on the socials for that. But yeah, gigging wise, I think the last show I did was, weirdly enough, ABC Q&A, which wasn't televised. It was like a warm up sort of thing. That's wrapping up. It has wrapped up, I should say. So that was one of the last ones they had there, sort of warm up the crowd, and that's always a great privilege, playing in front of a really big crowd and sort of diverse demographic. But I backed off the gigs not because I was getting demoralized or whatever the word is, but I think when I'm still working on an album, I just find it's just one more thing I've got to stress about. So I kind of pull back, but I'm lucky to have some really, really amazing musicians and really good mates of mine that if we want to do a band show like we did at the retreat around this time last year, we just sort of rope them in and we have a couple of rehearsals and we just bash out the songs, and that's always a real joy. I think I like playing solo, don't get me wrong, but nothing beats having other musos on stage with you in the moment, and just that kind of telepathic sonic thing it's a great privilege.
Yeah, definitely. We got a little teaser of that in the clip "No Time Like the Present." We didn't touch on just who put that one together. It's great to see some of the stuff live on, especially when they get to listen to one of an album, and that was the magic that was Rage and all those kind of shows back in the day as well. You got to see a little bit of how the band came together. It wasn't just the radio, and that very much feels like it sits beautifully in amongst the Rage setting. So who put that one together?
Yeah, that was put together by another talented chap, Dale Fairless. So he has some interesting kind of effects and things that he ran a lot of the footage through to give it that slightly wonky, I'm trying to think of the right word, but that sort of VHS quality without it looking like an Instagram filter.
Sure, yeah.
So, that additional stock footage of the sort of oceanic stuff, he pulled that together from a few sources, and it just sort of suited the lyrics the themes of the song really well. So yeah, it's, again, I'm lucky to have these people contribute such nice things. The A Man Called Sun canon, as it were. So,
Yeah. Well, firstly, good luck with
thank you.
upcoming project. Obviously, as soon as it is released, please let us know, and we'd love to have a further chat a little more as the songs kind of get released. And yeah, all the best for the last half or last part of the year. When I say last half, we're well into the last couple of months of the year, and may 2026 bring you some great joy in amongst music.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Same to you. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure chewing the fat this evening.
No problem. And thanks for reaching out and connecting. Look forward to seeing you at a gig, hopefully in the near future.
Definitely, Aaron. All the best.
Cheers, mate. Look after yourself.
You too.
Well, thanks to Simon for joining me there on episode 192. We've got about 4 or 5 shows lined up as we push towards Christmas. We've got a Tuesday, Thursday for both the next 2 weeks. So pretty jam-packed in amongst that. So stay tuned for a couple of those. Maxine Gillen is the next one lined up. So that's for next Tuesday. So enjoy the week. Most importantly, I touched on a heap of gigs you should get out and see. I urge you strongly for the classic Bandcamp Fridays to jump on and check out music. And most importantly, A Man Called Sun at Bandcamp is the one you want to be checking out first. And then do yourself, as Molly would say, do yourself a favor, but also do someone else a favor. And try and, even if you can't afford a whole album or whatever, gift one song. I think that's a beautiful part of what can happen on Bandcamp to a friend and drop it in their inbox. And it's one of those beautiful things that helps spread the love. $1 here, $1 there, all adds up when you're trying to pay to put together an album, that's for sure. And I'd like to thank Simon Pearlman for joining me tonight and wish everyone the best for the weekend. And see you out there at a gig very soon.